Well, that's about it for this week.
That's right. We seem to have exceeded our allotted time.
You, old love.
What?
Button it, there's a dear.
Right. Yes, of course. I'm sorry.
So until we happen into each other once again, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
We're going to leave you with tonight's cocktail recipe. Tonight it's Whiskey Thunder. For this, you'll need whiskey, Angostura bitters, lemon juice, a pint of oh-so-fresh dairy cream, 2 olives, and a peanut. Please, Mr. Music, will you play?
Soupy twist.
Soupy twist. Well, that's about it for this week.
That's right. Time, the old enemy.
Oh, shut up.
Right.
So until we meet again, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
We're going to leave you with tonight's cocktail recipe, a slow snog with a distant relative. For this, you'll need 3 measures brandy, 2 of dark rum, 1 of white gin, 1 of yellow, a spoonful of crushed sugar puffs, 2 hard-boiled eggs, and an open-toed sandal. Size 9, if you can get it. Please, Mr. Music, will you play? Enjoy.
Soupy twist.
Soupy twist. That's about it for this week.
That's right. Sadly, the clock has beaten us.
Oh, do be quiet, Hugh.
Right.
So until we happen into each other again in the corridor of life, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. We're going to leave you with tonight's cocktail recipe. This one is called Everything in the Till and No Sudden Moves. You'll have fun asking for that in your local bar. And for it, you need 4 measures of gin, rum, brandy, whiskey, tequila, Angostura bitters, and a sprint of orange juice, and a pack of ordinary playing cards. Please, Mr. Music, will you play?
Soupy twist.
Soupy twist. That's about it for this week.
That's right. Hard to believe that 30 minutes has just flown by.
Oh, do shut your neck. So, unless we graze shoulders in the saloon lounge of real life, it's a good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
We're going to leave you with tonight's cocktail recipe. It's called a mug of horlicks. For this, you'll need horlicks, a camping stove, some milk, a teaspoon, and a mug.
Will I do?
No, Hugh, I meant mug in the sense of drinking vessel. You'll also need an idiot to hit on the head with your teaspoon.
Will I do?
Admirably. Please, Mr. Music, will you play?
Soupy twist.
Soupy twist. Well, that seems to be about it for this week.
That's right. Sadly, there isn't even enough time
For
left.
you to finish that sentence. So, it's good night from me.
And 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 it's good night from me. We're going to leave you with tonight's cocktail recipe. And tonight, it's beef goulash. For this, you will need a microwave oven and a frozen packet of beef goulash. Please, Mr. Music, will you play? Dinner is served.
Soupy twist.
Soupy twist. Oh, that's about it for this week.
Indeed, that's about it for this series.
If you've enjoyed this series of A Bit of Fry and Laurie, you may like to know that the BBC are bringing out some special commemorative oven gloves in the shape of special commemorative oven gloves.
For those of you who like to get out into the garden...
Hugh.
I'm sorry, I do beg your pardon. I shouldn't have said that.
All right, so until we meet the next time, who knows where or under what circumstances, there's just time for me to say it's good night from me.
And 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 we're going to leave you now with our final cocktail recipe. And this one's called Berliner Credit Sequence. For this, you will need a television set, the names in German of all the people who go to make up a faintly amusing television series, and a plate of tomato sandwiches. Now, I'm going to ask the master magician of handcraft himself, Mr. Music, for the very last time to weave a dizzying jazz pattern of sound. As I say, for the final time, please, Mr. Music, will you play? Colleague, thoughts, views, visions, a summary, if you please.
Well, Stephen, it's been
No, not out loud.
Right. I'm so very.
I know. My guests, have you have you chosen tonight's cocktail? What's it to be?
Oh, a golden meteorite, I think, Stephen.
Yes, please, a golden meteorite.
A golden meteorite. Well now, for a golden meteorite you will need 1 shot gin, 1 shot vodka, 1 shot of this highball tumbler close up, 1 shot of straight Kentucky sour mash sipping whiskey, a zeal of ice, a priest of lemon, a slug of milk, 2.5 liters of air, and a finger of slug shot. We will also need some warmest music, which is achieved by my saying these words. Please, Mr. Music, will you play? Soupy twist. And that means that we're going to have to draw another thick woolen scarf over yet another week of fun, temptation and pain.
Well, you know, Steve, that's very sad. What?
Shut your neck. Now, my guests, have you made your cocktail selection this evening?
Fancy a bit of avocado?
This one goes out in lives.
I would like a long, confident suck, please.
You've selected a long, confident suck.
Yes, please.
A very wise, if I may say so, decision. It will be my honour and my privilege to prepare it for you. Now, for a long, confident suck, you need a tall glass, a tall spoon, a tall barman, that's me. You need a sugar lump steeped in Angostura bitter, a pitted olive, a handful of Rice Krispies. They must be Rice Krispies. Ricicles won't do. To this you add a full measure of gin, a full measure of Fernet Branca, a full measure of cooking yogurt, a full measure of Drambuie, with or without, it doesn't really matter. And least important of all, some fried water. However, the most vital ingredient is missing and will be delivered when I say these words. Please, Mr. Music, will you play? Say it now, however. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching a bit of Fry and Laurie.
But not for long.
You? What? I'd be interested to see the memo from the Director General that gives you permission to butt in like that.
I'm so very sorry.
I can certainly show you the memo that tells you to butt out.
He's quite right.
Well, now it comes to that time where I ask our guests to tell me the kind, sort, or kind of cocktail that they would like served to them this evening. Lady guest and gentle guest, faites vos choix, s'il vous plaît.
Well, I want one of each.
No, I think we'll plump for the South Seas vulvic wart.
The South Seas vulvic wart. Well, for this you will need 2 scooped-out melons, plenty of ice, some dry London gin. Check, that should be wet London gin. You will need the opening paragraph of George Eliot's Silas Marner. You will need a wedge of toast for decoration, a lump of Cinzano Bianco, of course, some Cointreau, and some photographs of Lech Wałęsa attached to cocktail sticks. And as I prepare a South Seas genital wart, I say, as I like to on these occasions, those 6 refreshing words that unlock the door to sophisticated evening happiness. I say, please, Mr. Music, will you play? Well, we come now to that part of the show where I say, well, we come now to that part of the show.
Oh, get on with it.
Have you chosen your cocktail, Caroline?
Yes, I'll have a quick one with you, Stephen, please.
A quick one with you, Stephen, it will be. For you, Patrick?
Could I just have a glass of water, Stephen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid the answer is no, you can't. I do apologise. You can have a quick one with you, Stephen. A quick one with you, Stephen. Now, you may be making this at home, in which case what you'll need is a measure of gin, 2 measures of gin, 1 of gin, a measure of gin, an item of clothing worn by any member of the cast of 2.4 Children. In this case, I'm using a pair of Gary Olson's Fruit of the Loom Y pants. And a measure of gin. And now into the cocktail shaker of my mouth, I throw these 6 magnificent words. You, please, music, Mr. will play. I give a brief shake. And I pour out this golden phrase, please, Mr. Music, will you play? Welcome to the back end of the pantomime camel that has been tonight's edition of Abitoffryandlaurie. Little hand is already pointing at good, and the big hand will soon be pointing at bye.
And we know what that means, don't we?
Hugh.
What?
One more squeak out of you, I'm going to tear your guts out and stamp on your colon.
I do ask for it sometimes.
But there is just enough time, you'll be horrified to know, for me to turn to our oh-so-welcome hospitality customers and to ask them to gaze down at the cocktail menu and tell me what is and will be their choice of farewell cocktail.
Well,
Oh, I think...
yeah, no, but have you seen that one? I mean,
Do please let us know. Mr. Music and I are very much on the edge of our tempers, isn't that right?
That's as right as you know, and then just a little bit righter than that.
So can we have your votes, Zurich, please?
I think we'd like to go for the swinging ball sack, please.
You have chosen the swinging ball sack. Well, for a properly prepared swinging ball sack, you'll need 4 shots of tequila, an item of gin, 1 shot of pure grain heroin cut lengthways, 2 measures of self-raising sugar and 1 of carbonated, some freshly milled tungsten, and to garnish, 6 nipple hairs plucked from a cabinet minister. It doesn't matter which, but in this instance, I'm using Virginia Bottomleys. And as I prepare your swinging ball sacks, I ask this question in accordance with known principles. Please, Mr. Music, will you play? Well, my colleague, 1,740 seconds have elapsed since first we welcomed the viewing several into our lives for another evening of entertainment and hatred.
My colleague, you've opened your mouth and the great truth has come out.
I'll save you embarrassment by pretending you never said that or anything like it.
He's firm, but he's fair.
The great sandwich of broadcasting, we at abitoffryandlaurie are perhaps but a thin slice of turkey breast.
We nourish, but we don't cause wind.
I could have put it better myself.
What's more, he could too. He could.
So now, my colleague, we have to sweep up the broken shards and decaying lumps of the evening, gather them into an old towel and heave them over the side.
Fair breaks your heart, doesn't it?
I turn to you now, my colleague, and I ask you to gaze down at the drinks menu and fix us a debonair cocktail selection.
Oh, well, now this is a difficult choice.
Choose carefully, my colleague. One choice brings certain death, the other freedom.
Well, now, you'd expect me to choose the silver prostate, but then you'd know that I'd know that you'd expect that. So really, I should choose the boiling idiot. But the boiling idiot's got Campari in it, and he knows that I hate Campari, so... So it'll be the silver prostate.
Ha! You've chosen wisely, little one. Yoda has taught you well. The silver prostate does indeed bring freedom. Now, to prepare a silver prostate at home, you will need 7 of the following. A cocktail shaker, that's me, a helping of liquore strega, an assistance of parfait amour, lovely purple violet liqueur there, a tit of Maker's Mark bourbon, a rash of Bailey's Irish cream to throw away, square lumps of frozen water sculpted into the shape of ice cubes, and a farewell from newsreader Andrew Harvey, digitally recorded off-air.
That's the national and international news tonight. Good night.
While I mix these together, I turn to the debonair doyen of the dance, and I ask, as askingly as I might, this ask. Please, Mr. Music, will you play?
Soupy twist.
Well, my colleague, what a melancholy occasion is this.
It is at that. And yet, for millions of people, it's a time for simple rejoicing and quiet explosions of merriment.
I hate you.
I know what he's trying to say. I do.
But how, Macaulay, how to find fit words with which to bid farewell to our viewing several?
Let go, Luke. Feel the force. Be in touch with your feelings.
Yes. Yes. Oh, viewing several. Time like a thief in the night has smashed our near side window and stolen thence the stereo from our dashboard therein. For the very last time, I turn, wiping a sad, soft, salt tear from my crimsoning cheek, as I request and require our disastrously lovely guest units to tell me what is and will be their choice of farewell cocktail this evening.
Well, I like the sound of a London felch.
What about a golden shower?
Yeah, good idea. We should be concentrating on choosing a cocktail first. Oh, yes, well, there's the Martini Navratilova.
What's a sodding Mary?
A sodding Mary, it's like a Bloody Mary, but it's a little bit ruder. All right, have to hurry you.
Yep. Yes, I think
That's the one.
We'd like a modern Britain.
A modern Britain? Ha! My colleague, what did you say to me only this morning?
What indeed?
Well, they've chosen a modern Britain. A modern Britain is really like an old-fashioned, but with a new twist. For a modern Britain, you'll need finely made English hand-blown crystal glasses, the very best Islay malt whiskey, lovingly blended by craftsmen who care. You'll need freshly squeezed apple juice from pleasant Somerset orchards. You'll need a quarter gill of best dry London gin, a pint of rich Jersey cream, and of course, a half quart of soft, still Welsh mountain water. And to garnish, you'll need a shamrock, a daffodil, a thistle, and a rose. There's a difference with a modern Britain, however, because a modern Britain goes like this. We add to this kindly, noble, honourable and civilised mixture a centilitre of flat cola-style syrup, a hectare of low-calorie bran sweetener, a pot of non-dairy whitener, a leather sachet of instant heritage, a two-parent family-sized pack of diluted good values, free-market vegetables, a greedy helping of self-governing trusts, and a plastic ice cube for cosmetic purposes only. The product should be half-baked at an immoderate temperature of the lowest common denominator in an atmosphere of greasy cant and corrupt sleaze, until richly dishonoured and seared with shame. Your modern Britain will ideally by now have lost all colour, flavour and fizz, and should be then divided against itself and left in shoddy disrepair for a number of years until it rots before being sold off to the highest bidder. The whole botched cocktail should be served with a raft of unappetising sound bites and a package of feeble initiatives stuffed with tasteless media slime. But perhaps, somewhere, you might be inspired to add one small, tender, caring cherry of hope. I wonder. While you decide, I will entreat for the very finalist of last times this entreaty of my colleague, Britain's very own melody man, as I say to him, please, please, oh please, Mr. Music, will you play? It's ruined! Britain is ruined! There's nothing there! Oh, God, it's all gone!
Soupy, 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 soupy twist.